Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Lynchburg Parks and Recreation, we welcome you here tonight to celebrate the Older Americans Awards ceremony. Every May, Administration for Community Living leads our nation's observance of Older Americans Month. The 2021 theme, Communities of Strength, was selected to encourage and celebrate countless contributions that older adults make to strengthen communities. In tough times, communities find strength in people, and people find strength in communities. In the past year, we've seen this time and time again in the Lynchburg as friends, neighbors, and businesses have found new ways to support each other. In our community, older adults are a key source of this. Through their experience, success, and difficulties, they have built resilience that helps them face new challenges. When communities tap into this, they can become stronger. Strength is built and shown not only by bold acts, but also small ones of day-to-day life, such as a conversation shared with a friend, working in the garden, trying a new recipe, or taking time for a cup of tea on a very busy day. When we share these activities with others, either virtually or by talking about the experience later, we help them build resilience as well. Lynchburg Parks and Recreation offers a variety of programs and services in order to provide social connection and promote healthy aging by preserving the health, independence, and social well-being of an ever-growing older adult population. Please welcome to the stage Jennifer Jones, the Director of Lynchburg Parks and Recreation.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan, for that introduction. Good evening. Welcome to the Miller Center. As Mr. Jordan stated, my name's Jennifer Jones, and I'm the Director of Lynchburg Parks and Recreation. And just out of curiosity, with a show of hands, I wonder how many people in this room have taken one of our Parks and Rec programs? Anybody? Okay. How many people in the room have utilized our Trails or Parks system? Show of hands. Okay, we're up around 70, 80%. That's not bad. I'm going to talk a little bit about that today and some of the things that we're going to be focusing on over the next couple of years. Each spring, we celebrate the many contributions of our seniors in the service of our country by celebrating Older Americans Month. Over the past 10 years, nationally, the population of individuals 65 and older has increased 35%. That's a huge increase, from 38 million to 51 million, and it's projected to increase even more over the next 20 years. In Lynchburg, 14% of our population is over 65 years of age, and today Lynchburg is estimated to have 25% of its population over the age of 55. Unfortunately, as the older population has grown, so has the prevalence of chronic conditions, social isolation, and food insecurity, which I'm going to be talking a little bit about today. Research shows that 80% of older adults suffer from at least one chronic condition. 60% suffer from one or more chronic conditions. And further, 1 in 6 older adults have challenges accessing healthy foods and face the threat of hunger. The big problem is that together, hunger and chronic conditions limit an older adult's independence, their daily activities, and engagement with family and friends, which increases their risk for social isolation. This is a big problem. Social isolation now affects up to 43% of older adults. That's a lot. For decades, local park and recreation agencies have been offering programs and services to address the diverse health and wellness needs of the growing older population. Healthy aging is about preserving the health, independence, and social connections of older adults. Lynchburg aims to improve the health and well-being of older adults through parks and recreation by utilizing 3 different strategies. I'm going to start with number 1, chronic disease prevention and management. Our osteoarthritis program, Fit and Strong, has been very successful, and it's an example of this. But Lynchburg also offers 19 parks, 40 miles of trail, and our recreation facilities, amenities, and programs support most Lynchburgers' efforts to move more, which is a major factor in deterring chronic disease. While some activities may take place in a more structured setting, like our group exercise classes, our sport leagues, and chronic disease prevention programs, we're also responsible for creating and maintaining environments that foster natural movement, including establishing and expanding our trail networks that connect our neighborhoods and support active transportation, and things like developing community gardens that require physical labor to maintain the plots. In an effort to be inclusive, the department also allows electric bikes on the trails so that seniors with limited mobility may enjoy the trails through the use of pedal assist bikes. Lynchburg City Council, this is a major point here, Lynchburg City Council has adopted the 10-minute walk initiative, which will place a park within a 10-minute walk of every neighborhood so that every Lynchburger has access to free physical fitness infrastructure. That happened within the last 2 years and is being focused on by our needs assessment. In Lynchburg, the Parks and Recreation is a provider and protector of green space and of the natural ecosystems and habitats. Numerous studies support the idea that more green space results in better mental health for communities and older adults as well. And this includes improvements in managing stress and anxiety. In addition to connecting people to green space, Parks and Recreation provides ample activities that focus on managing stress and anxiety, such as arts and cultural enrichment, yoga, tai chi, drum circles, and meditation opportunities. There's a lot more, but that's just some of them. The second health and well-being strategy is food security and improved access to healthy foods. Lynchburg Community Market, Double Dollars, and the many farmers markets at the neighborhood centers come to mind here. Lynchburg Parks and Recreation plays a significant role in promoting healthy dietary habits, including providing meals to youth and older adults, attending programs, promoting community gardens and farmers markets, and working with youth, older adults, and families to improve nutrition knowledge and change their behaviors. With Lynchburg Community Market as part of our department, let me mention that seniors can take part in Lynchburg's Community Market SNAP Double Dollars program. And this is where you bring your EBT card to the customer service window and receive a dollar-for-dollar match up to $25 for fresh fruits and veggies that you can purchase at the Lynchburg Community Market from our local farmers. Also, every Tuesday, and this is new, every Tuesday from June 1st to August 9th, there will be an after-hours farmers market from 4 to 8 at the Lynchburg Community Market. So we're not just doing it from 7 to 2. We're actually having one in the evening from 4 to 8, and that's on Tuesday nights. Also, fresh produce, free fresh produce, can be picked up at all 6 neighborhood centers. And again, that's free of charge. The final strategy, reducing social isolation. Post-COVID, 19% of seniors report more sadness and depression, while 28% are more anxious and worried. Millions of older Americans are struggling with physical, emotional, and cognitive challenges, following a year of being cooped up, stopping their usual activities, and seeing few, if any, people. The physical health benefits for youth and older adults attending parks and recreation programs are well documented. Pre-COVID, we know that people were moving more and eating healthier. But what about the social benefits of our parks and recreation programs? Research has shown that parks and rec participants feel happier and less stressed after attending programs. Many lifetime friendships are hatched in park and recreation programs with like-minded individuals sharing their passions. I myself am still in contact with the girls I played softball with when I was a 10-year-old in the Moundsville, West Virginia Pigtail Softball League. So lifetime friendships happen over these various shared interests. Lynchburg Parks and Rec offers over 170 programs every 4 months. It's actually a lot more than that. Last time I listened to Rachel give a talk, it was 220, but I stick with 170, and that way it's not false advertising if we come up a little short. But that's every 4 months, and it's cataloged in our program guide and in our Templeton newsletter. Lynchburg Parks and Recreation also offers numerous volunteer opportunities to help others or work on projects and events. These opportunities provide seniors with a sense of purpose. These are some of the volunteer placements of our seniors, just to give you an idea. Tending the butterfly garden at Riverside Park on a weekly basis, weekly trash pickup on the trails, some help with the Virginia Commonwealth Games, special events, this depends on the event and the senior, but Easter egg roll, veterans luncheon, and Hill City Hoops are examples of this. Seniors help out at the neighborhood centers in a variety of ways, often with the senior programs they attend. Diamond Hill has the largest group of senior volunteers. Templeton uses seniors to support many of their programs. Some seniors drive the Templeton newsletter to various locations. So kind of wrapping this up, it's clear there is a significant impact potential for Lynchburg Parks and Recreation to address and improve chronic disease prevention management, food insecurity, and social isolation of older adults. Perhaps most urgently, addressing older adult issues that have arisen during the pandemic, like muscle weakness, poor nutrition, disrupted sleep, anxiety, social isolation, and more. Older adults face the prospect of poor health and increased frailty post-COVID. It's not going to be an easy task, but Parks and Rec has always risen to the challenge. And thanks to the possible CARES funding and the current needs assessment and comprehensive master plan process that we're in right now, and this is the last time we did this was 24 years ago, and this is the needs assessment and comprehensive master plan process. We may have the funds to address these issues with programs and services, and we will have a great idea as to what citizens, including seniors, want as far as programs, facilities, and parks, and where these parks and facilities should be built. Stay tuned for that plan to be presented to City Council in November of 2021. The future of Lynchburg Parks and Recreation and our ability to improve the quality of life for seniors is looking very bright. So, older Americans, which I am one, not picking on you, I'm actually one of those older Americans, I encourage you to use the Parks and Recreation resources we have available right here in Lynchburg. Thank you for all you've done and contributed to make Lynchburg and our country a great place to live, work, and play, and most of all, Happy Older Americans Month.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Our musical performer tonight will be Gus Miller. Gus is a native of Lynchburg, well known for being a jazz vocalist and crooner. Gus discovered his love of singing at the age of 50 and has headlined performances at the Academy Center of Arts, Jazz Street, Monteo's, and the Hotel Roanoke. Please give a round of applause for Gus Miller as he comes to the stage.
Missed the Saturday dance, heard they crowded the floor. Awfully different without you, don't get around much anymore. Thought I did just the club, got as far as the door. They would ask me about you, don't get around much anymore. memories, been invited on dates. Might have gone, but what for? Awfully different without you. Don't get around much anymore. This is where the dancing girls come out. Can do it. I say, darling, I guess my mind's more at ease. But nevertheless, why stir up memories? Been invited on dates. Might have gone, but what for? Awfully different without you. Don't get around much anymore. Awfully different without you. Don't get around much anymore. Thank you. Thank you. Since they said older people, I'll do this one next time.
Let's give another round for Gus. Our keynote speaker this evening is Denise Scruggs, University of Lynchburg. If there's one name in the Lynchburg community everyone knows as it pertains to gerontology and the aging adult community, it is Denise Scruggs. Denise has spent over 20 years working with older adults in adult daycare, nursing and skilled care facilities, memory care, and continued care retirement community settings. Since 2007, she has served as director of the Beard Center on Aging at the University of Lynchburg. Through the Beard Center, she coordinates the annual Consortium on Aging Conference, which is composed of regional healthcare providers, foundation representatives, government agencies, nonprofit and for-profit agencies, and community members. Outside of the conference, this group meets frequently to network and explore ways to effectively promote healthy aging, address issues affecting the aging population, and improve community services for the aging population and their caregivers in Region 2000. Denise has served on various Denise has served on various boards of directors and advisory councils throughout the region. Additionally, she has received numerous awards in her field, including, but not limited to, the 2017 Distinguished Educator of the Year Award from the National Council of Certified Dementia Practitioners, and in 2015, she received the Honorary Alumni Award from the University of Lynchburg. These noted achievements are just a fraction of the countless contributions Denise makes daily towards the aging adult community in Lynchburg and surrounding areas. It is my honor to welcome Denise Scruggs to the stage and congratulate her with the 2021 Older Americans Month Award for Education.
Hello, everybody. Gus is sure a hard act to follow here. He sure is. Great to be here tonight and to be part of the Older Americans Month celebrations. Just want you to know I just had cataract surgery, so I have a little hard time seeing everybody, so I hope I won't fall off those stairs when I go back down. I'll take it really slow. But thank you for giving me the opportunity to come here today. I'm going to talk a little bit about COVID and post-COVID and how to move forward in a very unexpected time in most of our lives, right? We know that over the last year and a half, almost 8,000 people in the city of Lynchburg were diagnosed with COVID. We know that over 700,000 in Virginia were also diagnosed. But we know this is a fraction of maybe the total number of people that experienced COVID, because many people experienced symptoms, like myself, before there were any testing measures available. We also know that many people never even went to the doctors and suffered COVID symptoms at home and alone or with their family members. But in short, we know that it has affected all of us in one way or another. Maybe we've known somebody who's had it, or we've experienced it ourselves. We know that it's especially been devastating to older adults in America. We know that 8 out of 10 deaths in the United States caused by COVID have been older adults, 65 years of age and older. We know that if you're a survivor, that survivor means something different to many of us. Some people were able to have COVID and have a mild experience with it, while others had life-threatening situations and continued symptoms that may last forever in their life. We know for many people it's been a financial struggle for the medical expenses that came out of fighting COVID and surviving COVID. But I consider myself, as many people do, as one of the lucky ones. I do have a continued heart experience, and I've been told to live every day as if it's my last. And I will do that. I've always lived life that way, but do it even more so today because we're not guaranteed tomorrow, right? But we make the most of what we have, and we consider ourselves lucky again. We know that many of us have lost friends and loved ones. It may have been our husband or our wife, our partner, our neighbor, our best friend. We know that older adults, more than any other population in America, have suffered these losses of family members and friends. We know that even though some of us may have not been directly impacted, we've all been experiencing the trauma of COVID. We woke up almost, it seemed like, one day and life was different. All of a sudden we were staying at home, we weren't able to be outside, we were limiting what we had, and we all remember the toilet paper fiasco, right? Or the lack of thereof, right? We never realized how important toilet paper was in our life till we knew that we didn't have it. And I also know friends who were actually saving newspapers, and I prayed that we never go back to newspapers, right? But we didn't know there for a while, right? So we had to make use of what we had, whatever that may be at that point. We know that COVID-19 has caused a lot of stress and worry and anxiety for many of us. Again, as we watched others go through it, as we feared for our family members and friends, and for ourselves as we experienced COVID. It was like something many of us have never, ever experienced before. It impacted many people's well-being and mental health. One thing that it did do is call attention to the lack of mental health services in America, and as a positive outcome, we are seeing greater awareness of the need for mental health supports around America, and we are seeing many new mental health supports being developed to help us with that. We also are looking at other ways like parks and recreation activities and social activities that we can address depression and mental health issues. And we're really excited to see that because it's going to take all of our parks and rec programs around the country to a new level of intervention and healthy living for all of us. We know, too, that as the pandemic restrictions are being lifted and vaccinations are being distributed, for many of us, we may take a while before we really re-enter society the way we did before. But we have to take it at our own speed. And we're going to talk a little bit about that here in a few minutes on how we can move forward after the COVID experience and the pandemic, and how we move forward while it's still going on. Because again, that's going to still impact us. We know too that technology became more important, right? We never thought we would be doing telehealth. We never thought we would be doing meetings with family and friends using technology. For some of us who've gone through technology kicking and screaming, we've learned to do our banking online. We've learned to shop online. We've learned how to measure and buy clothing online when we never ever wanted to do it, and we never thought we'd ever do it. I was one of those people that says never ever, and boy, did I eat those words, right? Like many people did too. We also learned through the pandemic that there's a digital divide between our older adults and other ages in our population. We also know that we need to develop programs to teach people how to use technology. We need to provide more technology at affordable prices. We need to look at the internet in our communities and make it more accessible to people in our communities. I think we're going to see a lot more places for free internet services, and we're seeing discounts for older adults now that we never saw before, and we're really excited to see that. And I can tell you we are committed at the Beard Center on Aging to try to lead some of those efforts to put that technology out there and make it more available to older adults in our community. So just know that you'll probably hear that. And I haven't approached it yet with Parks and Rec, but we hope to also be working with the Templeton Center and other community centers to get out into the community and bring our students out to help teach technology and to help do one-on-one training as well as group training for anybody who's interested. Because the bottom line we learned, we need to be technology savvy, right? Or we might find ourselves isolated away from our family and friends. And those who didn't use technology didn't have the opportunity to continue visiting the grandchildren, the other family members, and they lost connection with many people. And that increased the sense of isolation that many people had. Another thing that happened that was probably a very positive thing, but we didn't feel it as we've been through the thick of things, we realized what's essential in life and what's not, and who's essential in our lives. We took for granted our transportation providers. We took for granted our police officers. We took for granted our firefighters, and we took for granted our healthcare community members. We took for granted our hospital. We realize now how important it is in all cities, in all towns, in all communities to have these services and these service providers. They went above and beyond throughout the pandemic to make sure that we were okay and to make sure that we had what we needed. And they risked their lives, and they risked the lives of their families at times to do that. Another thing that we were able to do is we learned to not only do the online shopping, but we learned to not to eat out. I mean, how many of us learned to cook again? I have to tell you, I was one of those. I have a husband that cooks, and I think it was going on about 22 years I hadn't cooked a meal because he loved to cook, and I was glad to step back and let him do that. But now I'm back to the kitchen, and I'm now starting to cook again. I can't say it's a good experience yet for him, but I am trying, and I know I'll get there like others. But you know what the COVID experience also gave us the opportunity was to step outside of our normal roles and to do things we never did, or to get back to things that we used to do. You know, we used to sit out on the porch on a Sunday afternoon or Saturday afternoon, and we used to laugh and say we're watching the grass grow. But we did that for hours at a time. We watched the dogs running up and down the yard. We played with the grandchildren of the children. We did nothing. We were just there. We just enjoyed just being. You know, we got back to that with the pandemic. Life wasn't as fast as it used to be. Plus, we had time with our families that we almost took for granted while we were running in and out at our homes and doing all the things that we want. And I know retirees are just as busy as people working in a job. My husband always tells me I'm busier now as a retiree than I was at my job, and I'm always giving him a to-do list, or what do they call it, a honey-do list, and he's already telling me that I already have these things on my list today. And but you know, we learned these things too, right? And we learned to help each other and work better together with that. And for many couples, it was learning to be a couple again, right? Because we were going in two different directions a lot of times. And I'm saying that as retirees as well as employees and people still working in the office environments and so on. But it changed again on how we looked at life and what we did. We also discovered what mattered the most. Hugs from our grandchildren, an ice cream from our favorite food stand, and a ride around town were something that we really longed to have again that we didn't have for a long time. We learned to eat in the car. That's one thing my husband and I did. We implemented our picnics. When I first met him, we had picnics all the time at all the different parks. We went to places in the surrounding community, and we had picnics everywhere. and we really loved it, but life got too busy. We've now gone back to that. And any of you who are looking for something to do, I urge you to consider going to one of the local parks, pulling out a blanket, and enjoying a picnic. And just listening to the birds, looking at the sky. Again, it helped us remember these are things we never take the time to do as much when we got so busy in life that we forgot how to live. And again, it brought that back for us at our house. The other thing that we found out was that there was a need to look at diversity and equity and inclusion. We learned that there is something called ageism still going on out there, and that we may be still being discriminated against because of our age, because people think we're too old. And you may or may not know it, but in many countries, if you were over the age of 65, you were never considered for a ventilator because they figured you'd already lived your life and you didn't deserve a ventilator. They were reserved to people who were younger who had life ahead of them. And I'm here to say life goes on, and we know there's people, I have friends who are in their hundreds and 90s and 80s and 70s. We know life doesn't stop at 65, right? God help us if it did, right? We look forward to that retirement for many of us, to get to that 65 years so that we can enjoy getting up and living life in a different way, our way, if or when we want to get out of bed, doing what we want to do and how we want to do it, right? That, to me, is one of the biggest benefits of getting older, is to be able to live life more as we want it and not as we feel that we have to sometimes, as far as getting up and spending time at an office job or whatnot. Even though I love my work and I have much opportunity to do that, I have missed my family many of the times that I'm working because I have so much I want to do and accomplish. And if you've ever had that happen, I'm a cancer survivor too, and you feel that life is only so short and you have so much you want to do, sometimes we live it too fast. And I'm learning to slow down. And I think that's what, again, many of us learned, that it's not about how much we do. It's not about everything we want to do. It's picking out what's most important. And that, again, is what COVID has taught me, too. I wanted to mention a few things, too, as we start looking at the future. But I also want to commend Lynchburg Parks and Recreation for doing their part. We talked about communities becoming more important and people reaching out more and families helping families. And we saw community members coming out, helping with foods insecurities, helping with other things that we needed. We did a mask drive. We had a great response from people in Lynchburg Parks Recreation and others to help us distribute over 2,000 masks to older adults in our community. And we couldn't have done that with everybody's support. But they stepped up while other people were stepping back. They established an elder reassurance line so people wouldn't be alone, so they could connect with persons who are isolated. They also were one of the first senior centers, the Templeton Center was, to open for older adults in Virginia. And they did that by offering, yeah, let's do that. That's awesome. Congratulations, Ronnie, and all of you that did that. Because, again, we learned that through social distancing, and we learned that following stringent cleaning protocols and doing health checks, we could still go on with life. We didn't have to stop life. We could just slow it down if we wanted to, or we could keep going at the pace that we wanted to. But Parks and Rec has been there for us and with us throughout the whole COVID experience. And again, I commend them for what they've done with this. We also know that our community centers, as was mentioned earlier by Jenny, have stepped up and have made sure, I think I heard it called the Red Wagon Project or something to that effect, where they carried red wagons out from the community centers to people in the community who needed food. What a wonderful idea and what a great program to do to make sure that our fellow community members are alive and well and that they are not alone and they don't feel alone. But as we move forward, I want to give a few points of, or few pieces of advice, if you will. Do what's comfortable for you. For some people, no mask will be comfortable. For others of us, we may wear masks for a year or more until we really feel comfortable. But go slow. We don't have to go fast. Take it at your own pace, at your own comfort level. And respect what other people decide to do too. Some people will feel more comfortable without masks, others won't. Some people want to still social distance, others won't. And that's okay. We just follow the protocol that's given to us through the health professionals that are providing that guideline. That's what we want to do. We want to increase our technology skills too, if that's possible. And again, we're going to look at ways that we can help in doing that. So sign up for a class at the community college, or I hope in a Parks and Rec class or a program that I hope to partner with Parks and Rec to offer to older adults in our community. Prepare for future emergencies. Again, toilet paper, toilet paper, toilet paper, right? How many of us have stockpiled toilet paper since we've worried about not having it again, right? Not only toilet paper, but extra canned goods and other emergency supplies. We should have those in our home at all times. We usually haven't worried about that because we don't normally experience tornadoes and floods and other types of things, but we need to be ready for those things just like everybody else. And so keeping those 2 weeks worth of groceries and other things is important for us. And I think also hand sanitizers and masks. You know, we never even thought about that, right? After I left healthcare, I never wore a mask again until COVID struck. Talk with your family about end-of-life preferences. You know, talking about death or end of life is never easy, but it's something we know that we all need to do, right? And if we don't feel comfortable talking, write down what you wish or how you want your family to work with you at the end of life. You know, I had a doctor tell me that last February, and my heart functioning went to 30%. I had the chance of a immediate cardiac arrest at any point, and he basically said, get your life in order and make your plans. My husband never wanted to talk about it, so what I did was I put it in writing, I put it in an envelope, I sealed it, and I have it still at home for him at any point that it happened. And I may outlive all of you here. I plan on it, by the way. But if I don't, my husband and family will be ready. And we have to do this, even though it's uncomfortable. It helps our families know what to do. Because whoever thought COVID would happen the way it did? We'd be separated from our families. We wouldn't be there to make those decisions for our loved ones, and that they would be alone in the last hours or moments of their lives. None of us expected that, and we hope that we never have it again. Focus on the positive. Again, live every day as if it's your last. And while every day may not be good, look for the good in every day, because there's good in every day, even the bad days or the worst day that we have. Do one thing that you enjoy every day, and that's something I've learned to do. And take time to smell the roses. Even if it's a few minutes a day, go out, walk around your yard, sit on your porch. Again, I enjoy every morning sitting and listen to the birds sing in the morning. I buy myself flowers now. It's something I didn't do for a long time, but I did when I had cancer. I look up, and the first thing I see when I wake up in the morning is a flower sitting next to my bedside table, or on my bedside table, and it reminds me that life is beautiful and life is good, and to make the most of that day. So take a few minutes every day, take a walk outside, spend time gardening. You know, they have found that if we spend just 15 minutes outside in the sunlight, and it doesn't have to be at the major part of the day, but in any time during the day, it can improve our mood and change our outlook. So do that. Get out to parks and recreation activities. Reconnect if you've not already reconnected in those parks and rec activities. And also volunteer. We know how important that is, again, in giving us that sense of purpose. And you may or may not know that having that sense of purpose increases our longevity and our quality of life. So it's another reason to stay connected. And I have so much I want to do. I want to get to retirement so I can do all those other things I want to do. But I have to remind myself again, pace it one day at a time, right? Stay connected. Engage socially with others, even if it's a phone call, even if it's doing something online. And I still haven't gotten really connected yet with all that online visiting and stuff. I'm very awkward with that. But be supportive of others. Reach out to people you know who are alone. Be that support to them. But most importantly, have at least one person you can talk to, because we know the COVID pandemic has been brutal to all of us, and we need someone to talk to. We need to share our anxieties, we need to share our fears, we need to share our successes, and we need to share our future. And we need to use that person as our sounding board as we move forward. So have that one person, whoever it is in your life, that you can talk with. And if you know people who don't have that person, be that person for somebody else. We can do that we can help each other. But give yourself time to grieve. You know, we've all experienced grief, even though we haven't lost people. We've lost a way of life. We've lost our security in life. It's made us think of our own end of life. What seemed like certainty in life is now no longer certain. It will take time for all of us to recover from this. but also keep your immune system strong. Take care of yourself. Eat a healthy diet. Exercise. Don't smoke or limit your cigarette smoking. Keep current on your vaccines. And most importantly, keep up with that hand washing. You know, we forgot about it, right? We kind of went through life and we were doing it, but we didn't do it as much and we didn't remember how important it was. But it's connected to our health and our well-being. So keep doing that. That's important too. But most importantly, remember that life is unpredictable and also life is fragile. Do what I do. Make the most of every day. Embrace life. Live, laugh, and have fun. It's really important that we do that. And live for the present and the moment that we're in. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't focus on what happened yesterday. But all we have is the present, right? We have the present, and that's what we need to make the most of. But most importantly, know that you're never alone. We already know we have family and friends. We already know we have our Parks and Recreation family and friends. And we need to remember we're never in this alone. And I wish all of you well, and I wish you all to know that we share in your grief if you've lost family members and friends, because that's something that's impacted all of us. But thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for those words. Tonight, we will honor 8 older Americans who have strengthened the Lynchburg community. The selected candidates were determined through a public nomination process, and the ceremony will include the winners from 2020 and 2021. These awards honor Lynchburg community members ages 50 plus on their accomplishments in the following fields: sports, arts, business, entrepreneurship, STEM, education, community service, volunteering, and activism. If you are able, when I call your name, please come up to the stage to accept your award and pose for a photograph, after which please exit stage right and one of our ushers will escort you back to your seat. Now, without further ado, let's get started. First, I will present the winners awards for May of 2020. Now, as you know, last May, the entire nation was shut down and quarantined due to COVID-19 pandemic. The Lynchburg Parks and Recreational Programming staff was determined to honor and celebrate Older Americans Month. In lieu of our traditional in-person celebration, programmers developed an award nomination process to recognize the individual contributions from older Americans in Lynchburg. Tonight, we are happy to finally recognize these individuals for their achievement. The 2020 Award for Contribution in Education is presented to Shirley Reed. Just to give you a little background on Shirley. Shirley served for 37 years as an educator at Lynchburg General Hospital. Shirley is known in the Lynchburg community for her love of children and her commitment to their care, while parents worked in the hospital. She retired in 2008. Thank you, Shirley, for your dedicated service to the children of Lynchburg.
Great job.
The 2020 Award for Contribution in Volunteer Service is presented to Barbara Washington. Barbara has served as volunteer court-appointed special advocate for children who have been removed from their home due to abuse or neglect since 2004. She is compassionate and concerned for the welfare of children and has dedicated untold hours to serving and protecting them. She is a part of the crucial service that is child advocacy. Thank you for your service in the city of Lynchburg, Barbara. And Barbara's not here with us tonight, so I believe somebody's accepting her award.
Is someone here to accept her award?
Thank you.
We're going to get your name set in case, on behalf of her.
Tonight's award for volunteer service is presented to David Tomato. David volunteers in many ways for the Lynchburg community. He follows his heart and uses his hands. David volunteer philosophy can be summed up in a line from Khalil Gibran's book, The Prophet, which states, "There are those who give with joy, and that joy is their reward." David retired to Lynchburg area 10 years ago. During that time, he has committed 20 hours each week to volunteering for a number of nonprofits in this area. He strives to serve the common good and meet his personal goal to keep physically active and enjoy outdoors. David volunteers by maintaining gardens in Riverside Park, builds houses, supports events, edits environmental educational publications, and raises funds for nonprofits. The Lynchburg community is a richer place to have volunteers such as David willing to give their time and talent to the organizations. He seeks no recognition for himself, but seeks recognition for the act of volunteering. David would feel rewarded if his example motivated another person to pursue meaningful volunteer opportunities for themselves. Thank you, David, for your service. Our next recipient falls into a variety of categories, but for this year, we're going to award Mike Lewis for his contribution in musical arts. Mike has worked and served in a myriad of local organizations that have contributed to Lynchburg's growth and success. To name a few, currently he is the executive director at Lynchburg Symphony Orchestra, bringing classical music to Lynchburg residents in so many unique ways that it makes relevant and accessible to all generations and walks of life. He has also worked with Lynchburg Regional Business Alliance and Lynchburg Regional Chamber of Commerce, helping Lynchburg thrive in many areas of business and lifestyles. Anyone who meets Mike knows that he is passionate about his family and community. Whether it's grabbing a slice at Benny's, going to see a Hillcats game, or inviting the orchestra to play at Star Hill Brewery, you can tell that Mike loves Lynchburg and has helped the city grow into what it is today. Thank you, Mike, for your service to Lynchburg community. Lynchburg's thriving art community is no longer being held a best-kept secret. So we have selected two candidates who have contributed to strengthening our community through arts. This second award is presented to Sharon White for her dedication to the arts community. Sharon is a pillar of strength in the Lynchburg community with her dedication to dance education and the children of Lynchburg. After her return to Lynchburg from Maryland, Sharon saw a lack of vibrant African dance and cultural opportunities missing from Lynchburg. From here, Kumbaya Dance Ensemble was born. Since its inception, the dance ensemble has enjoyed participation from a wide range of community members in a number of areas. Kumba Dance Ensemble performs and provides lecture demonstrations in schools, recreational centers, churches, and at community events. In 2009, the dance ensemble became a formal partner group of Lynchburg Parks and Recreation. By doing so, the dance ensemble brings dance education to Lynchburg citizens, ensuring that everyone who desires a dance education would have access to one. Dance forms taught include Afro-Caribbean dance, ballet, modern, and tap. We at Lynchburg Parks and Recreation greatly appreciate and wish to honor Sharon White for her dedication to Lynchburg arts community. Thank you, Sharon.
Great job.
Tonight's award for community service is presented to John Justice. John spent his career educating young minds at Randolph-Macon Women's College, later renamed Randolph College. After retiring, he began his volunteer service for the AARP Tax Service Program. John has been the lead volunteer for the AAR Tax Aid Program at Templeton Recreational Center for 8 years and has overseen tax return preparations for nearly 5,000 returns filed for free for local citizens. That right there deserves a hand clap. This past 2021 tax season, while most of the AARP tax filing programs in neighboring communities were shut down, John designed a socially distanced protocol that allowed 453 people to file returns. To provide this service, John added a phone appointment scheduling to his duties with the tax aid program. John continues to monitor the program each year after it ends in April 15th. People that have used this service will call Templeton Center with questions concerning their returns. John makes himself available on a regular basis during the off-season to return calls and assist people with their questions. Lynchburg Parks and Recreation and the Templeton Center recognizes John for his time and dedication towards this essential community service. Thank you, John.
I'm exceptionalist for John tonight. He is in Texas visiting his grandchildren for the first time in a year and a half.
Okay.
We'll forgive him for that.
Tonight's award for contribution in business is presented to Tulane Patterson. Tulane, the owner and CEO of Generation Solutions Home Health and Personal Care, has contributed to the elderly community of Lynchburg and surrounding counties his entire professional life. His company was created for one purpose: to provide Lynchburg aging citizens the opportunity to live independently in the comfort of their own homes. His business not only provides care for the elderly, but also creates local jobs for skilled healthcare workers and support staff. The business is locally owned with a family atmosphere that reflects a strong sense of love and care for seniors. Throughout his career, Tulane has been a strong advocate for honest and trustworthy service for our vulnerable population. He has also worked in a cooperative effort with other agencies and organizations providing the same experience. Tulane has additionally sought opportunities specifically to serve our military veterans in gratitude for their service of this country. He views his business as a ministry to help others in need. Thank you, Tulane, for your service to the Lynchburg community.
Great job.
At this time, this concludes our awards presentation. Sorry.
I think we missed one. Hang on one
Okay.
second.
Now, this finally concludes the awards presentation tonight, celebration. Please give another round of applause for the success and dedication for everyone who was celebrated this evening, and welcome once again Gus Miller to the stage.
Would you go help me? You're my love, you're my angel, you're the girl of my dreams. I'd like to thank you for waiting patiently. Daddy's home, Daddy's home to stay. How I've waited for this moment to be by your side. Your best friend wrote and told me you had teardrops in your eyes. Daddy's home, Daddy's home to stay. It wasn't on a Sunday.
Monday and Tuesday went by.
It wasn't on a Tuesday afternoon.
All I could do was cry.
But I made a promise that you treasured. I made it back home to you. How I've waited for this moment to be by your side. Your best friend wrote and told me you had teardrops in your eyes. Daddy's home, Daddy's home to stay. Daddy's home to stay. I'm not 1,000 miles away.
Thank you, Gus. Lynchburg Parks and Recreation would like to thank all of the people recognized here tonight and all of the people that are not here working quietly behind the scenes to strengthen and uplift our Lynchburg community. Together, we can find strength and create a strong future. When people at different ages, backgrounds, abilities, and talents share experiences through actions, story, or service, we help build a stronger community. And that's something to celebrate. By the way, here are some simple ways we can all share in this connection. Look for joy in the everyday. Celebrate small moments and ordinary pleasures by taking time to recognize them. Start a gratitude journal and share it with others via social media, or call a friend or family member to share a happy moment or to say thank you. Reach out to neighbors. Even if you can't get together in person right now, you can still connect with your neighbors. Leave a small gift on their doorstep. Offer to help with outdoor chores, or deliver a home-cooked meal. Build new skills. Learning something new allows us to practice overcoming challenges. Take an arts course online or try a socially distanced outdoor movement class to enjoy learning with others in your community. Have a skill to share? Find an opportunity to teach someone, even casually. Share your story. There's a reason storytelling is a time-honored activity. Hearing how others experience the world helps us grow. Interviewing family, friends, and neighbors can open up new conversations and strengthen our connections. If you were inspired by tonight's program and would like to nominate an older American for May of 2022, please visit the Lynchburg Parks and Recreation website and fill out an application. To learn more about Older Americans Month, check out the Administration for Community Living. For 58 years, the ACL has presented Older Americans Month to provide resources to help older Americans remain healthy and materials to help communities celebrate their older citizens. Lynchburg Parks and Recreation is honored to partake in this national movement to celebrate and recognize older Americans who have helped strengthen community. I would like to congratulate all of the winners honored this evening and thank Lynchburg Parks and Recreation for the opportunity to be your Master of Ceremony tonight. Thank you, good night, and have a great, great weekend.